there, guys, gals, and non-binary pals. GM Potter here, and today we will be going over 1984 by George Orwell. This book is one of the most famously and most banned books of all time. It came out in 1949, and for Banned Books Week, let's get into it. So, it was George Orwell's ninth and final book that he published. Our main characters are Winston. He's our protagonist. He is a thought criminal. He wants to rebel, but he doesn't quite know how to go about it. He has a hatred for the inner party. In this universe, you have the inner party, who are the people very, very loyal to the party. You have the outer party, who are party members who still have rights and things. He's a member of the outer party. And then you have the proletariat, who's on the outer outs fringe. The proletariat basically can never be part of the outer party. The outer party can move to the inner party can move to the outer party at great expense to themselves, but the proletariat is bogged down by poverty and by distractions of their own pitiful lives that they don't even necessarily wish to be part of the outer or inner party. So Winston is a member of the outer party. And then we have Julia, who is also a member of the outer party. She's the love interest. I don't feel comfortable calling her the love interest. She's described as being a rebel from the waist down. When Winston first notices her, he's suspicious of her. He's angry at her because he thinks she's going to turn him in. He talks about wanting to essay her and beat her and unalive her, and it's just disgusting. I did not enjoy Winston. I didn't really enjoy this book. It's kind of sexist. Women are highly sexualized, even in the fact that some of them choose not to have sex is highly sexualized and sensationalized. It made me uncomfortable, and all the talk of wanting to essay women just made me uncomfortable. It kind of made my skin crawl. Yeah, it kind of reminded me of, I think, the movie Soylent Green, where you've got the furniture, where it's people, and the furniture comes with the apartment, and you can do whatever you want to the furniture, but it's a living, breathing woman, and it's just uncomfortable. We also have O'Brien, who is a member of the inner party, and is suspected by Winston of being a member of the rebellion, in this called the Brotherhood. And then, of course, we have Big Brother, who's the figurehead of the party, and the figurehead of Oceania, which is, of which Great Britain is now a part. Big Brother is watching. Big Brother is always watching. So there's that. And in the government system, I'm trying not to get into spoilers because I think this is a book that people should read because it's so referenced. I caught a Star Trek reference in it towards the end of the book that I hadn't realized. It's a famous Star Trek reference, and I'm sure it just goes to show that I hadn't read the book that I didn't get the reference. But there are 4 lights, if you watch Star Trek, is directly taken from 1984, like 100% directly lifted from 1984. The way the government is positioned, there's basically 4 ministries. You have the Ministry of Peace, which is concerned with war. You have the Ministry of Plenty, which is mainly concerned with rationing goods. You have the Ministry of Truth, which is the propaganda department, basically the lies department. And then you have the Ministry of Love, which is, you never want to end up at the Ministry of Love. That is where thought criminals and regular criminals go to be tortured. There are prison work camps in Oceania. It was largely based, at least according to things I've read that come from Orwell, because I tried not to look up too many dissertations on this that didn't come from other people because I wanted the author's perspective. He says he largely based it on Stalinist and Nazi political structures. So, but it's so much more than that. It's the themes of the book are totalitarianism and nationalism, censorship, and then the links between poverty and inequality. It delves a lot into the inequality of the proletariat in a very offhand kind of way. Our main character, Winston, is kind of jealous of the proletariat in that they call them proles. He's jealous of them in that they don't really concern themselves with the government theatrics that are going on. They don't really concern themselves with any of the goings on of the government. They're too busy trying to scrape by. The country is, of course, at war. It's always at war. It's always been at war. It's always going to be at war. The enemy keeps changing, and part of Winston's job is to redact and reframe newspaper articles and things like that so that everybody knows that we've always been at war with Eurasia. Oh, no, no, we've always been at war with East Asia. What are you talking about? This has always been the enemy. Even though he remembers, and part of his inner rebellion is that he remembers being at war with someone else, and he knows what he works in. He's jealous of them, that they're too busy. He's jealous of the proletariat, that they're too busy trying to scrape by their own lives to notice the horribleness that's going on. It deals a lot with censorship. Throughout the building that he works in the Ministry of Truth, they have these things called memory holes, where he's given his assignments for the day, and when he's done with them, he drops them down. They're carried down into the furnace and burned, incinerated. They're nothing but dust. They're not even ash. They're just dust. Other things that happen within the party are doublespeak, which is the black is white, white is black. You have to believe it. You have to believe these lies with every fiber of your being, or else you're a thought criminal, which leads into thought crime, which it's not enough to act on the things you want to do. Just thinking about them is illegal. And then you have newspeak, which they're one of the people in the Ministry of Truth in the book is going through and writing a new dictionary so that he can take out words that they no longer need, and they're changing definitions of words. Like the word free. The word free is only used in terms of this dog is free of lice, or I'm free Saturday night. It's not used in the way all men are free, or freedom. It's more talking about being without than being inherently liberated, because there is no liberation. There's no equality. To say all men are equal would be the equivalent of saying all men have red hair. It's ridiculous. Everybody knows this is false, and it's just an absurd statement to make. It's comical. As far as censorship and banning the book, the most famous example I can think of is that it was banned in the USSR for being anti-communist, while in the same year it was banned in the United States for being anti-capitalist. It's not really anti either of those things that makes digs at both systems. It's anti-authoritarianism. It's anti-totalitarianism. It has such a wide sweeping social influence that I think this book should be read. While it did make me uncomfortable with the sexism and the themes of SA that run throughout it as well, I think that you're missing out on so many references by not having read this book. Like, there's the Star Trek references. V for Vendetta heavily references this book. Both the graphic novel and the movie both heavily reference 1984. Fahrenheit 451 references it. It's been compared to Brave New World by Aldous Huxley, which I've also read takes a slightly different approach to government control, but the effect is still the same. Have you read 1984? Were you forced to read this in high school or forced to read this in college? Did you read it on your own? Let me know down in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!